There's a moment that you mentioned the first time I spoke to you about a woman, and she told you, "I don't have anybody." Right? This was at the Trinity Cafe before you guys did the merge.
Yeah.
How did that moment also shift your perspective?
So when I got that role, I had to volunteer for a week and immerse myself in our guests. And our guests were a lot of folks with lower income, veterans who are struggling with the life that they gave up for us. Let's put that clear.
Mm.
And homeless. And I sat at a table. So the concept of Trinity Cafe is that you come in for a free meal, three-course meal with a snack, a dessert, everything you could need, no questions asked, and you are served like you're in a real restaurant. So it's a dignified experience for someone who that might be the only A, conversation they have, or the only people that treat them with dignity and don't question them because they're unhoused, they're living outside. So I sat down to this woman, with this woman, and she clearly hadn't had a space for hygiene or anything like that. And we just had a conversation, and anybody that had ever been in her life was gone. She didn't know what to do. She didn't have someone, we talk about folks and moments that inspire us. She didn't have any of that she could grab onto. And that was my first interaction with a guest. And it was like, I was filled with instant gratitude. My short time with struggling with food insecurity and making terrible choices was a lifestyle for this woman. She didn't have anybody. And it was like, how can I be somebody, even briefly, for these? I'm in the right place. This has to be my home. I cried with her. I thanked her for telling me her story. And she really changed me. And it'll be 9 years since that moment. And I try to learn something from every person that I encounter, because people don't want to struggle.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to struggle. Nobody wants to ask for help. People talk about folks taking advantage of the system. There's always in the cream of it all, a bowl of cream, huge. There's always one little speck that will ruin it. One little thing that ruins for all. People need to focus on the huge bowl of cream, take a spoon and get the little speck out, because that is what life is truly like in our world, in my world, in other food banks. There's over 200 food banks across the nation. You have your nonprofit. People need people, and you can inspire the good in someone. Take the time to do it.
And when you go down this path, it happens to anybody, right? Doesn't discriminate. And during pandemic, you were actually able to see that. You
Oh,
mentioned about seeing some Porsches in food lines, right? Now
yes.
these Porsches, what, $100,000 vehicles?
Yeah,
What did that reveal about food insecurity and its touches?
well, for every listener of you have, we all lived through something together for
Hmm.
once in our life history, but not just here globally. And that is the moment that food insecurity and knowing that in a moment your life can be changed, the whole world understood. I think before, when folks thought of someone who was food insecure, it was someone that was asking them for something on a roadside. It was seeing someone on a tree with all their belongings around them, and that just isn't the facts. Right now we're in a time where so many hardworking families, dual income families, cannot meet the needs of their household and have to get a break from somewhere. So where I am, and in our food bank, all food banks are different, but in our food bank, we envision thriving communities. We know that it's possible, but the thing is, we can't solve it alone with food.
Hmm.
So under our roof, we opened a brand new facility about 16 months ago, and 30% of that facility brings people into our world, and instead of just giving them food, asking them what else they need. So currently, and that number is growing, we have 20 nonprofits that address all of those needs, and we help facilitate, and they have one place where they can solve their problems, or begin to, right? Have the conversation. We have legal help if something's going on. We have a financial counseling that can help you with the budget that you already have. We connect you with utilities, because did you know that utilities will actually have a conversation with you and not just shut your stuff off? So we bring all of these folks under one roof to really try to solve the root cause of what they're going on so they don't need us anymore.
Yeah.
And then they come and volunteer.
That's the most beautiful thing about it, when someone can get back into the cycle of where they come from, and a lot of times they grow through it, right? Like
Oh,
today they're
yeah.
volunteering, one day they run in the organization. Um, One of the things that when people ask me how do I feel about my life experiences, that was a really good question, and it was a friend that asked me, and I said, I could only answer it in one word, and it was grateful. Like those experiences led us to who we are today and where we are today. And I ask you, what is your one word of all these things? Because you're in this space today, and I think so into it the way you are because of the experiences you've had, and you've encountered it, and you understand what that felt like, and you just want to make sure other people can overcome the same way you've been able to overcome. What is that one word if you had to kind of paint the picture for what it actually looks like
One word is
or how
very
you
hard.
feel?
And to me, it's the tip of the iceberg, but I feel blessed. I feel in the moment, make no mistake. It was anything that's hard. You know, I mentioned my father, who was a hospital chaplain. He was in his 80s, and he refused to not go into the hospital during COVID, and he ended up dying from it in 2021 and passed away in his own hospital. That was very hard for me, obviously.
Hmm.
But what I took away from it is his commitment to help other people was not going to stray him from what he needed to do. So I am
Wow.
blessed from even that heartbreaking moment. It had a real purpose for him, and I had to let him live into his purpose. So I don't know. It sounds
I
crazy,
love
but
it.
I am
No, go ahead.
blessed. But there's so much more than the word
Yeah, yeah,
blessed
yeah.
can
No,
give.
I love it. And I also love that, I think it was during the pandemic that you started the podcast. Is that correct? Stick a fork in it.
We did. We did. Stick a fork in it. We all know we need somebody. And that comes from that Lady Mary that I met around in that round table in Trinity Cafe. And our conversations are sticking a fork in what your life and experience has been, who was there for you. If you haven't, why not?
Hmm.
Recognize them, be thankful for them. And we just interview tons of people throughout the Tampa Bay area and really nationwide. We've had some really great guests on that tell the story to be thankful and look for those folks that help you become who you are, because there is
Hmm.
not one human being of any age who hasn't gotten to where they are without the influence or help of another.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
You talk
Yeah.
about your life up until you were 30. There were still people, you know, in your childhood, you were let down by what parenthood was for you.
Yeah.
But clearly, there were people who stepped in that space for you and helped you
Yep.
come to peace with your life. We all have it. We all have that story. It's every single one is unique. And I just love our podcast because it gives us that moment to learn about other people and take lessons from every single conversation we have, just like I'm taking lessons from you today.